What's up, sisters? Welcome to the Period Whisperer podcast. I'm Bria. I'm your host. If you're new, I'm so happy you are here. I'm your perimenopause and menopause sister, your holistic trainer, hormone specialist, translator of your female body. I'm a recovering people pleaser and hustle addict turned body whisperer and hormone decoder. And I am here to help you de-stress your body, decode what it is saying, become the CEO of it, and own your own health, energy, and weight loss again. This show is for you, the overwhelmed, overworked, underappreciated step woman who dreams of a body they feel strong, energetic, and sane in. The woman who knows that she shouldn't just wave the white aging flag and believes in a body and life of peace, love, and purpose. But you don't just know how to get there yet. So if you are stuck in your body, your energy, your life, you are in the right spot. Let's lean in and learn what our bodies are saying to us. Hey, sisters. It's Bria here, your host of the Period Whisperer podcast, your fellow hormonally challenged sister. I feel like it's really important, although this is my expertise, although this is my passion, although I have again and again, been able to get results for myself and results in other women with this real shift in understanding, what's happening in our female body and what's changing. Although I know all of this stuff, it is very important that I share with you and that you also know I do not always take my own advice. I do have days where I still have caffeine on an empty stomach and I'm like, darn it, because I know later I shouldn't. I do have days where I don't sleep perfectly at night. I do have days where I have to talk myself out of doing a hard workout or remind myself to take a rest because, I have this to-do list that I have decided has to be done. I do mess up. But what I think is important to understand and what I really want to share with you is that I have learned, and what I want you to learn through this podcast and through any of the programs that I teach or through coaching with me is the recognition of when it's beginning to happen. So we don't get so far to the point where we cannot survive, right? Where you need to feel like you turtle and disappear from your life. I will pull away from my friends when I'm in a hole. I just won't call them back. I don't want to answer their phone because the people who know and love you the most, you can't lie to those people. Also, I used to be, I'm a recovering people pleaser. So I used to be like, I'm great. Everything's great. It's always great. I'm fine. And now I refuse to do that. I can't even, now that I've stopped doing that, I can't even find that mask to put on because it doesn't even fit anymore. It feels like it's so phony. So before we get to the place where we are so unhappy and miserable and suffering in our body because we've ignored it for so long, we want to learn how to hear what it is when it is whispering to us, like when to listen, and then what to do, what tools we should, pull into play in order to get us back to that place, that really beautiful, vibrant place that I know right? I know you know it because you wouldn't be here if you didn't know you should feel better than you do, right? You wouldn't be here if you didn't know, you could feel better, want to feel better, have felt better, right? I know you know that. So that's what really brings us here, right? Is recognizing we should feel better than we do. We believe in that part of ourselves, and it's time to dive into that. So, I was thinking as well, before I start this episode, and I really want to share with you, in a quick down and dirty podcast here. I love giving you these short ones. I know I get feedback from you guys too, that you love these short ones. When I can get in and out of a podcast in a 15-minute walk or something and really have these actionable steps or some clear things that are going to get me results, it's everything to me. So I do try to give these ones to you and in digestible ways. But don't forget, the most important piece here is recognizing on this process to understanding our body. We have to learn that our mind is a big part of the issue, right? Our mind, I heard someone actually the other day in the hormone industry talk about, we get really caught up in knowing that it's a bottom up problem. Like we have to heal our body, got to heal our body. But don't forget that our mind plays tricks on us. And we need to also be focused on our mindset, because the mind is the one that's telling us we don't have time. The mind is the one that's telling us we can't do it. The mind is the one that's telling us we are the only one who can do all the things on our to-do list, and the world will die if you're not the one putting your child to bed at night, or you're not the one making the perfect sandwich for them to take and the perfect little bento box lunch for them to go off to school. Okay, that's our mind. Our mind is like an evil dictator, dictating constantly down to the body. It collects all the information coming at us from the outside world, telling us how to feel, what to do. Try this. No, try this. No, try this. No, now this isn't working. You need to try this. No, get on the scale. And how does it make you feel? Oh no, I feel terrible today. Like the mind is a desperate chatterbox, right? And it's the quieting of the mind and the managing of the mind that equally helps us finally hear and get results in our body, right? Because the mind dictates a lot of the stress in the body. When it's in chaos, our body's in chaos, like that evil dictator. Which, total side note, if you're obviously from my era, which is why you're listening to this podcast, because we're all, in the same stage of life. Do you remember that website that was Guess the Evil Dictator or TV sitcom character? Do you remember that? I loved that game. I thought it was so fascinating. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you do know what I'm talking about, please message me and tell me, who your favorite one was, to whether you're more of a dictator or more of a TV sitcom character to search in there. But if you don't know what I'm talking about, and now I'm going to have to Google it after this to see if it's even still in existence, you would pick in your mind a TV sitcom character, like a famous one. I would often pick like someone from Saved by the Bell, right? I loved that. Doogie Howser even, or, I try to get way back. You try to think of someone really unique and really difficult, and or you'd pick an evil dictator. And the website would ask you questions, and you like almost like a 20 questions situation, and it always got it correct. It was insane and such a fun little game to play. Now I think I need to introduce it to my kids if it's still there. Anyway, okay, so here we are, and we're in this stage in our life, and we need to make sure we're not getting so far off of this path that when we heal and nurture our hormones and we get into this weight release period, I want to remind you something here. If you are not sleeping through the night and you're not releasing weight with the way you eat, that needs to be your focus. So before you go out and do a hard workout, you have to be able to release weight and have consistent energy just through sleep and nutrition and regular movement. A regular movement being consciously walking or yoga for 30 minutes a day. If that is not happening, you need to put more effort and energy there, because going and working out is going to tax your body more. So I have a really, really simple morning routine that I always go back to. I don't do it 365 days of the year. If I travel, I don't always do it, but I do when I'm home and in my regular routine. This is my routine in the morning that always brings me back to peace. It impacts my ability to go to sleep and sleep well at night. It impacts my cravings in the afternoon. It impacts my entire mindset for the whole day. And it is very simple, and it only will take you 10 to 20 extra minutes in the day. And this can count as your movement, right? So really simple. Ready? Step number 1, when you wake up, put on your running shoes and go for a walk outside. A couple key elements of what moving does. Getting outside first thing in the morning helps work with our circadian rhythm, right? And even if it's dark, I do walk in the dark, but it helps because as the winter happens, it gets, darker later. But even if you get some level of daylight or brightness or outside stimulation into you, it begins to turn your body clock around. If your circadian rhythm is messed up, then your infradian rhythm will be messed up. So we want to, nurture one that is actually pretty simple. To nurture your circadian rhythm when you first wake up in the morning is get some bright light or some outdoor activity into your eyes. The second reason that's so valuable is that you start by moving your body in a gentle way. You get your body moving. You can even stretch a little bit out on that walk, and you're all of a sudden waking yourself up and getting yourself and your hormones and your body already juicing and moving. So it's really good. It's movement for your body, gets your digestion moving. It should help if you have any, bowel issues. Remember that if you are not waking up and pooping unassisted within the first hour and a half, unassisted, that sounds funny. Unassisted meaning you're not drinking caffeine or taking something in order to go to the bathroom. If you're not waking up and going to the bathroom, it usually means you are constipated, typically from not enough fiber or hydration. Okay. So when we first wake up in the morning, you want to go for a walk, at least 10 minutes. 20 is nice. If you have a dog, it's got to get done anyway. So wake up and move that body. The second part of my routine is I actually take my greens drink on my walk with me. So there's a couple of really powerful pieces to this greens drink. What I look for, just so you know, is something organic. That I can drink on its own, right? It's a powder, I put it in. I like to fill up a good 16 to 24 ounces of water. And I drink that on my walk as I go first thing in the morning. What's really important about that is one, just the simple hydration effect of it. We are 60% water, which means we're like cucumbers. And when we have now spent, all night without really drinking much, I know some of us wake up and have some water, but if we need to rehydrate to get the wheels and the juices turning and going again. Otherwise, we get backed up, we get stuck, and energy is not flowing in our body. So just simple act of that rehydration is really powerful, but the greens are the micronutrients that set the stage in our gut to keep us from having cravings later in the day. It keeps us from having cravings. It keeps us from that energy crash. You guys know I love the Organifi greens. It's what I drink every day. If you can order that and want to order that, make sure you use my name as a discount code because they do give 15 to 20% off. But they're, I love them. But even if you just Google the ingredients and go to your local store and try to get something that is drinkable for you that works for you, that works too. But drink some greens first thing in the morning because it sets that tone for your blood sugar, for your cravings, for your gut health, which impacts your hormones. And the biggest thing that people recognize is an improvement of energy in the afternoon and an improvement of cravings in the afternoon. And that's often what derails us. So now you're up already, you're moving your body. You're getting the energy flowing, you're starting your gut out right, you're rehydrating your body, all in like a 15-minute period or 10. Okay, so it doesn't have to be long. And we're going to habit stack on top of that with my third favorite habit, which is listening to something that either keeps you focused on the fact that your health matters and you matter and you're empowered, or really just jazzes you up and gets you laughing and positive in the day. I really like the idea. For me, I like listening to something that empowers me and reminds me of my health being a priority because it's so easy to get distracted when it comes to these simple goals. As we're learning as women that we matter, right? That we can take up space in the day, that we don't have to just squeeze our needs into the cracks of everyone else, right? It really matters that we really matter. But that's a process. It's a practice that takes time. So as we learn that, we have to remind ourselves like a touch tree, like a key point, all the way as often as we can that that we're focused on this and it's important, and we shouldn't have any guilt or shame over that. So listening to something first thing in the morning, now we get the energy going in our body, we're laying the groundwork in our gut, and now we're laying the groundwork in our brain for the day. So listening to something, whether it's an Audible book, whether it's this podcast, or there's another podcast that reminds you, because and here's how I know we forget things. When I first started in the wellness industry and the fitness industry, and I was trying to lose, baby weight, I would start the day off strong. And by, 1:00, I'd be eating the goldfish off of, my toddler's plate before I threw it in the garbage, because I'd just completely forgotten that I mattered, that I was working on this piece, right? Like, how often do you empty your kids' lunches and you just eat the crusts or eat the leftovers? We are not here for leftovers. You are here for the real meal, the real aspect, a real bite that is just for you, taken out of life. No more. So those are the 3 things that I do. And they're simple things. Again, it's a simple 10, it can be longer, but like 10 to 15 to 20 minute thing in the day. And you will begin to crave that. You will begin to crave your greens. You will begin to, crave the mindset. And it's these subtle little shifts that, without much effort, make a significant impact. And they create more energy for you so you can begin to do other things, right? You can habit stack and add another positive habit on there that's going to impact your hormones. You can make time for this. 10 to 15 minutes. And as an added bonus, I would walk again at night. Again, a lot of you guys have pets. I know you do. Those pets need to be walked. Get out with them, move them, or heck, walk alone, because you do need a little space by yourself. But if it's dark and it's not the safest place, and you absolutely must, you can walk on your treadmill, but I do love this getting outside. It really kicks off that rhythm. All right, you guys, make sure that if these are helpful episodes, please, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. And please rate and review on iTunes or Spotify. That's what helps me keep this going and get this stuff out to you. Share it, send me a message if there's a specific topic or a specific problem that you need help with. And most of all, go out into the world and be more in your life and not just less on a scale. See you. Thank you so much for joining me on the Period Whisperer podcast. I want to encourage you to reach out to me directly and message me if there are topics or things you're struggling with, so we can address those right where you are at. And of course, if you loved this episode, if you learned something, make sure to share it with your friends, and please rate and review it wherever you get your podcasts.